Hey everybody, welcome back to a Focus on Business, and today we got some good information. We're going to help you get better, feel better, be covered when you're better, and make sure that you're going to cover it until the day you die. How about that? So we're covering all the bases today. My guest today is Rich Rieger. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, everybody. Hi, John. How's it going?
So how you feeling?
I feel great. Looking forward to this little sit down and chatting about business.
So you have your fingers in a few things, I'd have to say.
Yeah, interesting at this stage in my life. I tried to retire when I was 50 years old, and it didn't really work for me. So I moved down to Florida, and there's not a lot of business down here for guys like me. My background is really in management and leadership. I worked for 30 years in a leadership capacity for a payroll company. Some people have probably heard of ADP. And learned very, very much the concept of high levels of service and high levels of accuracy. So that was in my blood. And I came down here and was looking for an opportunity, and the financial insurance side crept up on me. So I said, why not? It would be great because I could be helping people and at the same time, you know, making a living. So I enjoy what I do down here. My target market is from 45 years old to 65 years old and up. And I try to help people. My theme is you're never more insurable than you are today.
I've heard you use that. I think I've known you now for what, almost 10 years? And that's, you've always said that. It's kind of funny. I knew you were from Connecticut, correct?
No, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah. Well, it's still northeast. It's
yeah.
cold. It's dark. It's gray. Everybody's got the blues right now.
Right.
You know, winter blues. But I never knew you were the ADP.
Yeah, ADP, I started while I was going to college back in the early 70s and wound up, it was such a great company. It was $50 million big when I started. And eventually when I left in 2000, say, it was $10 billion big. So I had a fantastic ride, worked with a lot of great people, and really enjoyed myself, and had touched thousands and thousands of customers and made sure hundreds of thousands of people got the right paycheck every day, every week, every month, and got the right W-2 also.
So you were the eagle.
Yeah. Yeah, really some critical mass, making sure. One thing you don't want to do, if you're doing payrolls for people on Broadway or the city of New York, you don't want to get anything wrong, because the opportunity to get some really bad PR is huge. And at one point, I was responsible for the payroll for New York City's CETA program, their summer youth. It was 100,000 people on the payroll. Whoa. I actually had the ability to shut down our data center just to do that payroll.
Wow.
So, yeah, and you don't want to fool around and get anything wrong with that.
No.
Because next thing you know, New York Times, Daily News, your name's all over the place. So I understand how important it is to provide high levels of service and accuracy. So
you came to Florida, and you went, can't retire because you get bored?
Well, I retired before I came here. I retired in Colorado, and I did it for a month, and I started a consulting business called Looking for a Change. And what wound up happening when I brought it down to Florida, well, there's a ton of people that come down here and retire early, and they hang up a shingle saying that they're a consultant. And, I'm from New Jersey. Things are done a little bit different there. I was selling a consultancy that did performance management, change management, and executive coaching. Well, a lot of people can't wrap their arms around that, so I was spending most of my time marketing and less of my time doing what I really loved.
Right.
So that's why it led to a different way to go, which happened to be the insurance financial side of the business.
Okay, so let's fast forward now. You're into insurance, but you're into something else too, which we'll talk about this. We'll come back to the insurance, because that's going to be almost the whole show, kind of. So we're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about Bemer.
Sure.
Now, we're not talking about the BMW Bemer.
Right.
We're talking about the make you feel better Bemer.
Right. I had an opportunity back in January to work with a lady who kidded around with me at a meeting. She said, you know, you really need a Bemer. And I thought she meant BMW. And
Right.
I said, well, I drive a Lexus, and I'm happy with what I have. But what she was talking about was a new medical device, new to the United States, but it's been around Germany for 20 years, been around Europe. And what this does is it works on your microcirculation. And all of us, especially us that are a little bit older, don't get as much exercise and nutrition the way we should.
Right.
So there is a machine, a medical device that came out that is able to pump blood at a faster rate and increase what's called your vasomotion and push the bad stuff, the trash that is in your capillaries and your veins and your arteries, push it out of your body, the free radicals and the carbon dioxide, and to pump in nutrition and oxygen, which is what the body needs. Your body will heal itself. And this device is absolutely amazing. I've yet to talk to anybody that doesn't think it's not the best thing that was ever invented. It works on helping you with energy. It works with pain relief. It is just fantastic. And as you know, I used it on your wife one day when her back was, or her side was hurting, and it kind of fixed her up right away. I kind of wish I could have done it for the rest of the week, but if you do 8 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes in the afternoon, or maybe later on after dinner, you feel fantastic. The level of energy is great, and for those of us that have bad backs or trick knees and that kind of stuff, it pushes new blood and nutrition to your cells, and it just makes you feel so much better and gets rid of pain. So
It's just the same product that NASA was using with the astronauts, correct?
yeah, NASA, because when you're up in space without any gravity, there's some things you need to do to make your blood go around. You can't just rely on your heart. So built into these spacesuits is this technology which helps their blood circulate, because you know they're working all kind of crazy different hours. There's no, we are electronic beings. We are magnetic beings. When we walk on this earth, there's a magnetic level that comes out of the ground, which helps our blood move back and forth. And when you're up in space, you don't have that. So they built it into the spacesuits and have a deal with NASA. And besides NASA, there is a ton of sports teams and athletes that are using this in order to get better recovery, to build muscles, to get rid of pain, to get people up and going faster. The Diamondbacks is one of the teams, the Arizona Diamondbacks, that has it in their locker room. I think it would be really great if we could get it in high school locker rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, kids wind up getting hurt, and that's the end of their career. If we could get them the ability to have a comeback a little bit quicker, it'd be good for everybody. But it's a little bit on the expensive side, but terms can get worked out. And when you're talking about the ability for a lot of people to use the device, it works for everybody's good. I own one. I spend 8 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes in the evening. Probably why I can talk so fast on a Monday.
Yeah,
on a Monday morning.
Pretty good on Monday morning.
Exactly. I'm full of energy, so I really love it. I think it's great. Anybody have any interest? Please feel free to give me a call. One of the things when you have one is you're really a pilgrim that wants to go out and get everybody else involved and make them feel better. So I've got the bug just like the other folks that own it.
Yeah, I've met over the past 8 years, I have met a ton of people that either have them and they just have them. They're not even selling them. They just have them.
Yeah.
Or they have them and they're trying to convert everybody else, going, "Hey, you really need one of these."
When my chiropractor found out I had one, I started talking about, to her about how does she feel. And she does not use it in the office. She uses it solely at home. She won't let anybody else on it. But there are plenty of chiropractors and massage therapists and what do you call it with the needles? Acupuncture people that have them in their office. It helps circulation.
Right.
And when you get new blood going to places it hasn't been, you heal a lot quicker. So it
helps neurologically.
Yeah.
It helps. I mean, there's absolutely all aspects of life that this can touch.
Yeah.
And healing wise.
Well, healing wise, But again, the big benefit is energy. I
Right.
mean, you're making that blood go through your body and bringing nutrition to your cells a lot quicker into places you haven't. It hasn't moved for a long time.
Well, I had a nutritionist tell me once that, and he was more than just a nutritionist; he was a neurologist as well.
Mm-hmm.
He said the worst thing that we had ever did in the human history is create sneakers, because we're walking on dead material, which is the rubber soles.
Right.
He says, when your feet are running, when you're walking on leather or cork, or just barefooted, you're so much
waves
better.
are coming up.
You're pulling up, and you're right. So that all brings us back to that magnetic side of us, which
Right.
we need. But a lot of people that you look at these people wearing these rubber shoes and they're dying.
Yeah, they're
and
not getting, their feet might be a little bit more comfortable, but they're not getting the kind of blood flow
That's
they
correct.
should get. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, but
Excuse me.
even though we talked about the Bemer side of it, you also got into the insurance world.
Yeah, that actually insurance found me rather than me finding insurance. I mean, I've got a background in senior leadership positions, and I had quite a few people interested in me being involved with their business in a C-level kind of thing, but there just wasn't exact fits. So, and all of a sudden I got a tap on the shoulder from someone who asked me, would I have an interest in getting involved in insurance and selling annuities and life insurance and that kind of stuff. And because I didn't have a lot else on my plate and I was looking for opportunity, I said, absolutely. So right now I'm involved with life insurance, health insurance, and long-term care insurance. I also do some financial stuff for people, retirement type stuff for people that need some help. I'm not a certified planner, but then again, I don't charge those kind of fees. So I can help a lot of people get to where they want to be in retirement. I chose this because I myself in 2008 wound up being a little bit too out there as far as risk went, and I want to make sure that everybody else does not experience that, because it's very painful. In 2008, a lot of people lost a lot of money.
Right.
And I don't know how many people are spending a little time looking at their Wall Street Journal or the news these days, and that stock market is starting to make that pattern of going up and down and up and down in the same space. That is either what's called a pause to refresh, or it's getting ready to make some kind of change or make a big correction.
Yeah.
And it's not the time for you to have a lot of money in the market.
Okay, well, when we come back, I don't know where that came from. That was all. That's brand new sound. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about health and health insurance, correct?
Absolutely.
So you grab your cup of coffee, grab your tea, grab your milk, grab your beer, whatever you are. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
right, we're back. And guess what? We're going to talk about health insurance. That's a scary word right now.
Yeah, health insurance has gone through quite a bit of changes since 2014 and Mr. Obama with his Affordable Care Act. It's a very controversial subject, but it is a very important part of our lives.
Everybody should have health insurance, correct?
Yeah, the question is not whether you should have it, it's who's going to pay for it these days. And talk a little bit about the under 65 world, which is somewhere I spend some time, not a ton of time. But we live in Pasco County, and in Pasco County, there are only two vendors left in the marketplace. One is AM Better, the other one is Blue Cross Blue Shield, who I write for. And Blue Cross Blue Shield is Florida Blue is a great company and has fantastic insurance, and I'm sure AM Better does it also. It's just the process is so broke, and the way they come about who's going to get a subsidy and who's not going to get a subsidy is just it's hard to work with people.
Right.
First of all, in Florida, if you don't make $12,400, you cannot get insurance, or you cannot get affordable care insurance. So that kind of throws a monkey wrench.
If you make under $12,000, you can't get insurance from Obamacare.
If you make less than 100% of the poverty level, which is 12.4, you're not allowed to get health insurance. You have to go on Medicaid. And since Florida did not take the Medicaid expansion, these poor people are out of luck. And those are the people that really need
the insurance.
Health care, especially in Pasco. We have a very large community of people that don't make a lot of money, and they're the ones that need help. Conversely, on the other hand, we have some folks that are very fortunate, have been gifted, worked really hard, that their families are comfortable, and they wind up spending more money than it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that's what happened to my family. I mean, before Obamacare, we had beautiful insurance. I think we were paying like $7.99 a month, but that was all with a child that has autism, right? And then Obamacare hit, and it went to the whole family itself went to $1,600 a month.
Well, that's high, but I got to tell you, for people that are right underneath Medicare, people who are in their later 50s and early 60s, they are paying some ridiculous numbers to the point that some of them are $1,600 to $2,000 a month for one person.
Whoa!
And it's just not fair,
right?
For that to be the case. And I'm not being political at all. I'm neutral. I understand everybody needs good health care. It's a government problem. It's not an insurance person's problem. But at the same time they did that, they cut our commissions down to people either stop paying insurance salesmen for health, or I make $50 if I sign somebody up on health care. So it's not something I spend a lot of time with. I mean, as you know, I'm a good Christian man, and I help people wherever I possibly can, and I will write it if somebody needs it. But to be honest, I try to focus my practice on helping seniors and people that have Medicare because I have a lot more flexibility. I'm an insurance broker. There are many different organizations that I can provide to clients and help them. Even those that are on Medicaid and Medicare at the same time. There's some great offerings out there for people. There's a real consolidation going on in the marketplace. The big blue called Anthem came into the market and bought two companies, one called Optimum, the other called Freedom from Dr. Patel, who's a big name in Pasco County, and they also bought Simply, and they cater to the lower income folks, and they have what are called give back plans where they'll help people with their Part B. $134 now. They'll contribute to their Social Security debit for their Part B, and they have some local doctors, and it's a good local plan.
Right.
I also have the ability with other larger companies to get people insured with big doctor networks that extend beyond Florida, especially if they're doing some traveling. And there's really two different types of plans. One is a Medicare supplement plan, which you pay monthly, and you pay also for your drugs, a Part D plan. And with that, you are pretty much, once you've made those premiums, you don't pay anymore.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there.
Okay.
Because what is the difference between Medicare and Medicaid?
Okay.
Because there's people that ask me, and I'm like, oh, one's government supplemented, one's not.
Well, that's kind of true. Medicare is a benefit that you get, that you contribute to your whole life through work. There's a deduction that comes out of your check, and it is run by the federal government. It's administered by CMS, Center for Medicare Services, in Atlanta, Georgia. Medicaid is a program that is run by the state, which again purely a state-run exercise that takes care of people who are economically disadvantaged. And some people have the ability to be having both at the same time. Disadvantages, they're economically deprived, but they can get great health care. Medicare normally happens when you turn 65, or if you have some type of disability. For a period of time after 2 years, you're awarded the ability to get Medicare. It's not free. You're going to have your Part A, which is hospital, is going to be zero as far as premium goes. Your Part B now is $134. And then you normally get, because there's all kind of co-insurance and deductibles and that kind of stuff, you normally get either a Medicare supplement plan to pick up where original Medicare leaves off, or you get what's called a Medicare Advantage plan. Supplement is you're paying every month. Medicare Advantage plan is you're only paying when something happens. And there are a plethora of Medicare Advantage plans for seniors. Of course, you know, in this Tampa Bay area in Florida, this is the capital of, this is Seniorville.
Yeah.
So we have more seniors here than any other place. So there's plenty of opportunities for people to be insured properly. There are a ton of people that are still on just plain old original Medicare.
Right.
Some of them don't even have a drug plan, which there's a penalty involved now. If you don't get Part D when you become eligible for it, you wind up having to pay a penalty every month forever. I help a lot of people with that, with those issues. But again, I'm a broker. I write for everybody, so it's easy for me to find the right plan for somebody. And I make it kind of even easier. As you're aware, at this time of year, I spend a bit of time in Walmart superstores.
Yeah,
you're up in the front. People make fun of me, but I
don't make fun of you, but I see you there all the time.
Yeah, I wound up helping all kinds of old people with questions because, you know, it is a very confusing subject. A lot of people think it's a maze to get through.
Well, and that's why I asked you, because that's probably the best definition of both that I've heard. Because even I'm like, you know, what do I get when I'm 65? I get Medicare or Medicaid or something like that. I don't know. It's like, you know, if you don't know, you don't know. Because you've never had the need to know it. So, but so you said you got a bigger program for health for people that can actually afford the better insurance.
For under 65 or over 65?
Under 65.
Under 65, there are options to the Affordable Health Care Plan. The key here in Affordable Health Care is, do you need a subsidy and do you have a pre-existing condition? If you don't have a pre-existing condition, you can get a lot less expensive insurance. You know, the mandate is gone now. You don't have to have insurance, but you can get there are companies that sell what are called term plans,
right,
where you buy it 3 months and it's good for a year. You can continue to renew it. And then there are what's called healthcare sharing ministries. I write for a company called MediShare. It is for Christian people who follow certain rules, who can wind up. It looks like, tastes like, acts like an insurance program. It's not. Matter of fact, Donald Trump, our president, is talking about coming out with health care, which is part of an association. And many of these short-term pieces, that plans that are out there, are association-based. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're still going to get your deductible after your deductible is paid for, and you're going to have a doctor's visit and that kind of stuff. It's just the Affordable Care Plan left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yes, it did.
And it gets worse and worse each year because it gets more and more expensive. And, you know, I had some folks in the other day, a family of 4, that they wanted to charge them. The people made $100,000 plus, and they wanted to charge them $5,000 a month for health care. Who can afford to pay $60,000 other than a gazillionaire? Who can afford?
I could buy $1 million home for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not the way it's supposed to be. So, you know, it's broken. It needs to get fixed. I think, I hope our government works on it and makes something happen sooner versus later. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Medicare for all would be great. It hits my skill set. I write for everybody.
Boom.
I could really benefit for something like that. I just don't know that the government could afford something like that.
We got about 90 seconds left.
Sure.
So let's talk about pre-existing real quick if we can.
Sure.
Used to be, they only went back 10 years. So, but pre-existing is, if you've ever had it, you're always going to be hit for pre-existing.
No, pre-existing now is pretty much a 5-year kind of scenario, but most of us, because of the lifestyles that we live, injure ourselves somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. And there's a place in Iowa called the Medical Insurance Bureau, which captures all that. And there's a place in Wisconsin called some kind of prescription thing that captures all your meds. So they know whether or not something happened.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So I was always under the impression that if once you had it, that's a pre-existing period.
No.
So they only go back 5 years. That's excellent. Okay. So who are the big boys that you write with now for health?
Blue Cross Blue Shield is for everything for under 65, and then all the other carriers I can get people insured with. So, you know, please feel free to get in touch with me. I love to help you. I love working with seniors. They're just wonderful people. You know, there's a special place for them in heaven, and maybe me too for doing the work that I do with them.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to get a hold of Rich for your health insurance, his number's been up there. His website's been up here. We'll make sure at the end of the show that you have everything. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about life insurance. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm. Sure
so,
is.
Again, refresh that coffee, refresh that drink, whatever you're having. Sit back, and we'll be right back after these messages.
that loves going to the dentist. I love going to Dr. B.
I like coming to Dr. B because it is fun.
It's a very cool place where I can play and have fun while I make my toys.
And I can watch my favorite shows on the ceiling TV while they clean my teeth.
Mom loves it because she says that they explain everything and give her the best choices.
And they also teach us how to take care of our teeth.
At Dr. B Pediatric Dentistry, we understand the individuality of each child and offer an exceptional and gentle dental care experience for all children. With our laser procedures, we are able to provide gentler treatments and faster healing time. Call us now to make an appointment.
And the best part is when we are done, we get a token from the treasure tower.
Call Dr. B's Pediatric Dentistry today.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
We're back. We're going to talk about the scary one. I think it's scary because you know what? If you don't have it,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble, and you really do need. Let's talk about life insurance and types of life insurance.
Sure. I say the most important financial decision that anyone makes, first and foremost, is to get life insurance. Especially if you're married, if you have a house, if you have kids, if you have any kind of debt. You don't want to be leaving your debt for somebody else to pick up. So life insurance is very critical in your portfolio. It's the number one thing to protect your assets. It's funny, this morning I was watching Fox News while I was having my first cup of coffee. And
let me guess, they said don't have a second cup of coffee.
No, one of Dave Ramsey's guys was on, and he was talking about credit card debt. And he said that the average family in the United States has $16,000 in credit card debt.
Ooh.
Well, if it costs $10,000 to $12,000 for a funeral, that's the average funeral these days, and $16,000 in debt to get paid off. Think about your mortgage, your car, all the rest of that kind of stuff. Think about who's going to pick that up. God forbid anything happened to you. $16,000 in credit card debt.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, my mom happened to be a credit manager in a very fancy store in our town where I grew up in New Jersey. And she taught me, when you get your bill, you pay it off completely. You never have a balance. So I'm a little bit weird, okay? I only buy what I can afford. But we are, as a society today, so into lifestyle-related stuff. Everybody has to have an iPhone or the latest. What's that cost? $1,000?
Yep. Yeah.
And how long does it last? I mean, you're itching by the time the first year rolls around to do it again.
Year and a half, you want the new one.
And although they've come down significantly in price, you know, everybody wants to have a big screen TV in every room.
Right.
And it's nice. And I hope everybody enjoys it. But again, you cannot. Accidents happen.
Yeah.
Health issues happen. Every insurance person I know, if they've been in the business for 5, 10 years or more, has a story. I have one. I have several of them. A lady around the corner from me asked me to come sell her health. It was her husband who owned a business, and 2 kids. And she wound up saying, I only want you to insure my husband and the 2 kids. I'm fine, don't need it. And I went, well, you know, for just a little bit more money, we could get you insured also. And albeit it was health, it's still very important as far as insurance goes. So what wound up happening is I did it, and 6 months later I got a phone call. It says, hi, do you remember me? I'm your neighbor around the corner. Sure, I remember you. How are you? Well, I'm in Tampa General Hospital right now with leukemia.
Oh, no.
3 months later, she passed. So for someone like myself and most insurance guys I know, I get it. Sorry for banging the mic. For most guys I know, that's terrible. I mean, we take it personally.
Yeah.
Like, you know. So it's really important for you to sit down and take a look. It is so inexpensive. Today, if you are 65 years old, there is an actuarial value of your life that if you're a male, you're going to live till you're 84. If you are a woman, you're going to live till you're 86.
Wow.
As far as healthcare costs go, for a male, it's going to be $96,000 is going to be spent on your health. And for a woman, it's $122,000.
Wow.
Okay. Now, that doesn't include all kinds of crazy drugs if you wind up when you have Medicare and that kind of stuff that you got to buy. I'm diabetic. I spend quite a bit of money every year on insulin. So things happen. One thing about insurance is you just talk about pre-existing conditions. If you have a pre-existing condition with life insurance, there ain't no talking about it. There's no real underwriting. You're not getting in. Good friend of mine that's part of my B&I group called me the other day. He runs a company that does pavers. And he and his wife are in their early 30s. And I wrote $1 million policy on each one of them for like $50 a month for each of them.
Wow, that's,
$1 million.
that's good.
That'll take him till they're 65, when hopefully at 65 with his business, he'll never need it again.
Right.
But insurance is really inexpensive. There are different types of insurance. First one is called term. That means for a given period of time, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to insure your life against the problem, against some kind of risk that might happen to your family. So you're gonna pay X amount of bucks per month every month during that term, a static cost. It's not going to change. Then there's something that's called whole life. Now, Dave Ramsey, the famous announcer, and he
doesn't
now,
like whole life.
He now runs a lot of programs. He has his own financial ministry.
Oh.
So he sells his own.
Oh,
insurance.
well, he loves it then.
Yeah, so that's a lot of
Okay.
that's a lot of baloney. Whole life is where you're putting money in, not only for a death benefit, but you're also putting money in to save for kids' college, down payment on a home, whatever. When you get what's called a cash value built up in that policy, you can loan it back to yourself and pay it back whenever you want. There's no...
Really?
Yeah. So it's a really neat way of passing, saving some money, and when you need it, and if you let it go for a while, okay, there's a pretty large cash value to it.
Right.
Then
Now, is that a matched, or is it you put in 50, it's 50?
No, what happens is as you build, as the years go by, there's going to be a cost of insurance, and that's going to get smaller, and there's going to be a savings, which is going to get a little bit bigger, that you're going to get an interest rate, maybe 4%,
right?
Kind of scenario. So that covers term and it covers whole. And then you wind up with what's left, which is called underwritten or UL life. And you can do all kinds of investments with that money. That cash value scenario that you put in there, you can put that in an index fund. You can put it in a lot of different kind of investments and have it grow while you still maintain a death benefit.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
The good thing about life insurance is it is non-taxable to the person who gets that money.
Oh, so there's no death tax on it.
Correct. So if you really want to pass money on to someone, there are ways to go doing it. There's also what's called high cash value. Now you have to be careful here because there's a thing called a MEC, an endowment plan. But you can load up an insurance plan with money in the cash value and have a lower death benefit and do it over a shorter period of time and have a big chunk of money appreciate with interest, and that roll over interest-free when you die. You can't really beat that. So a lot of people look at, it's not an investment per se. I would never call it an investment, but it's a way to transfer money in a non-taxable kind of scenario. Now, life insurance also has things which are called riders. I think the only time anybody hears that word is when you talk about insurance.
Yeah.
And you can have all kind of different riders. You can have riders for long-term care. You can have riders for annuities that are a part of your plan and different ways to invest the money. You can also have what's called final expense kind of life insurance
and that
plan.
takes care of the funeral, the whole nine.
I think the max you can kind of get most of the time is around $25,000, and you can't turn 83 if you're a male and say I want a final expense plan because it's just not going to happen. You have to pay in for a certain amount of time, and there's some underwriting involved and that kind of jazz. But you can get up to $25,000 to take care of your final expenses. Like I was talking about, that $16,000 in credit card debt. Well, if it's on you, you don't want to pass it on to your wife.
Right.
Especially if you're a little bit older, there goes the retirement.
Right.
So that's final expense, and It's something we sell a lot to more senior people that are 65 years old and later that maybe don't have any kind of mechanism to take care of their final expenses, their burial, and that kind of jazz. And it's a really neat product for a lot of people.
That's really. I didn't. Okay, so I've known about some of the different life insurance that you spoke about, but I didn't know that there was a way to make it so I could put money into a policy so when I pass, my kids can get it, or my grandkids can get it, or my great-grandkids can get it, and they don't get taxed.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Well, there are things called an endowment plan, and it's called a modified endowment contract. So you have to watch how much you put in. The government is not stupid, but you can pass more money non-taxable to people, and it's a great way to do it.
That is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Holy cow. See, I did not. Now, okay, so the burial insurance, that one is something that, so you set that up, and then, now, how does that work? When you pass, do they take care of calling the funeral home and the cemetery, and because you tell them where you want to go, how you want to do it?
No, there are ways to make that happen. This is just purely an insurance plan. When you go, it gets paid out to a beneficiary.
Okay.
In my particular case, no matter where I am, all somebody has to do is make a phone call. They come get me and take care of me. I don't have to get my family involved at all. And if anybody's interested in that, I can kind of hook them up. But that's what I want.
Make sure his phone number is, the Trinity Insurance Consultants.com, right? Best way to get a hold of you for that?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure you're going to not leave your family.
They don't, because when in grieving, they're not the ones you want them picking the phone call. Okay, come get the body, and let me talk to this, or let me call which funeral home, and
the next segment we're gonna roll into is long-term care.
Well, with that being said, so the next one, when we come back, this next segment is going to be about long-term care, and that's something I tell you. I have a show called 62 Who Knew.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, since that show's been going on, this is the policy that my wife and I are starting to look at because we want that. I know for a fact that I told her that I said, do you really want to be wiping my ass when you're 70, 80 years old because I'm the one that's gone crazy and nuts? And she goes, nope. I was like, well, there you have it.
Exactly.
This is the stuff that's going to take care of it. So we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist. I love coming to Dr. B.
I like coming to Dr. B because it is fun.
It's a very cool place where I can play and have fun while I make my twin.
And I can watch my favorite shows on the ceiling TV while they clean my teeth.
Mom loves it because she says that they explain everything and give her the best choices.
And they also teach us how to take care of our teeth.
At Dr. B Pediatric Dentistry, we understand the individuality of each child and offer an exceptional and gentle dental care experience for all children. With our laser procedures, we are able to provide gentler treatments and faster healing time. Call us now to make an appointment.
And the best part is when we are done, we get a chocolate from the treasure tower.
Call Dr. B's Pediatric Dentistry today.
Okay, we're back. And now, okay, I'm just going to say this, okay? I've been doing a show called 62 New. I'm the executive producer for it, right? And it's Michael Banner's show. And ever since he started doing his show, it scared the crap out of me. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because this is I thought I was okay. And I'm not okay. Because there's stuff that in my portfolio that I'm missing. So that way my wife doesn't have to worry about taking care of me when we get older, because she'll probably outlive me, because that's typically what happens, and I'll go nuts first. So anyway, Rich, tell me about long-term care and why it's so important.
Sure. One of the things that I enjoy about insurance and kind of attracted me, it's really a math game. You hear a lot of statistics and you can put them together and come up with plans for people. And I mentioned I do a little bit of retirement planning for folks. Here's some numbers. So if you're 65, there's a 70% chance that you're going to need some type of long-term care.
Because we're living longer now, right?
And we have totally crazy lives. I mean, our lifestyle is running here, running there.
We're all over the
place. We're a
place.
lot more active than people that preceded us. So, we all have almost pre-existing conditions. So you wind up in a situation that if 70% are going to wind up with something wrong with them, there's going to be either one or two things that happen. They're going to need some kind of home care.
Right.
Which a lot of people think, oh, well, my daughter Jane will take care of me, and I'll just move in with her, or I'm going to go to a nursing home and get it taken care of. Well, here are some numbers for you. If you want to go to a nursing home, if you're a male, you're normally going to last in a nursing home for about 2.5 years. If you're a female, it's going to be 3 years. Prices now are going anywhere from closer to $10,000 a month. And that's not down in Treasure Island overlooking the beach. That's someplace in the wooded area of Polk County. So know that it is really expensive. It could be as much as $120,000 a year. And three years for a woman and 2.5 years for a guy is kind of crazy. So the only answer, if you want to protect yourself again, with something like that, is either to divert some of your retirement funds that you have right now to that project, or start at a much younger age when you can get it, when you are underwriting, before you have pre-existing conditions. Because for long-term care, they take a look into your history. What did your mom die of at what age? What did your dad die of at what age? What's going on in your family? All the rest of that kind of stuff. So there are a lot of kickouts.
Right.
So besides being extremely expensive, okay, you need to make sure that you can pass through the underwriting screening that goes on. So that's one level of looking at it. So we're talking about $300,000 plus. If we want to save that, we got to start really early, 45 years old, to start making something like that happen. Now, if you're really of the opinion and you want to deny it, that you're going to have to ever go into a home, then you know that you're going to need some kind of care if you stay at home. I have a personal experience where my mom loved living by herself, and then it got to the point where she could not live by herself anymore. And my sister, who has a heart about this big, wound up saying, we're not putting Mom in a nursing home. And I'm saying, well, you're in New Jersey and I'm in Florida. And she said, well, she was a paralegal for an elder law firm, and she said, well, I'm going to try to make it happen. I'll try to take care of her. And she would run home at lunch and all that kind of stuff, and eventually she had to quit her job. Well, eventually it wound up wearing her down to the point where, you know, it's tough to be able to, when you're older, to take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of the things that go on day to day,
right,
let alone to be a full-time nurse to somebody.
Oof.
So my mom happened to live until she was 99.8 years old.
Wow.
A wonderful life. But as we look back at it, my sister and I's relationship was easy to say it's strained. But it also has put her in a situation from running up and down the stairs, back and forth, that she winds up that she's got bad knees and that kind of stuff. So you really need to be honest with yourself and plan in advance for something like that, because if you don't, you're going to kill somebody in your family.
Well, that typically, not typically, but a lot of times the caregiver wears out faster than the person they're caring for.
Absolutely. I have a company that I work with that has a product that's called True Freedom, and it's for home health care. And you must be healthy when you go into it. And you're able to buy 2,000 hours, 3,000 hours, 5,000 hours, 10,000 hours at roughly around $25 a month. And you do it in a monthly kind of
right
premium. You're going to pay monthly towards it. And then when you need it, you can have someone that comes in and helps you with what is called the activities of daily living that you're not able to do.
Right.
Whether it's to do your laundry, whether it's to cook your meals, whether it's to help you bathe, whether it's to read to you, help you get dressed, run you back and forth from the doctor's office, run you back and forth from the hospital. You know, all those things. If you're a child and you're trying to make a life for you and your family, and you have to do that for your parents who
right.
you love to death,
right,
and you want to make you want to pay them back for all they did for you, you know, it's just really too tough, and you need some kind of outside help.
Okay, so with long-term care, when should you start?
The magic of long-term care, I would say, starts at 45 years old, before you have pre-existing conditions and while you can go through underwriting and afford to start amassing that money.
When's the cutoff?
Well, there isn't really a cutoff. It works in an interesting kind of way. The cutoff is when you can't get underwritten anymore.
Okay.
It is not like life insurance. It is not like health insurance. I mean, we're essentially spending your money that has amassed some interest.
Right.
And when you run out of money, you're out of long-term care. So I use the ballpark. A lot of people say, well, if the whole adventure is going to cost me $360,000 on average right now,
right,
then maybe I need to look at putting $180,000 into a fund, so that will pay for half, and the other half I'll come up with as I need it. But
right.
that other half is going up as far as interest goes and inflation. So it's really... It's a tough thing, but Americans don't think about it.
So I'm 52. My wife is 59.
Mm-hmm.
Is it too late for us to start?
No, it's a great time for you to start to take a look at the numbers. What would it cost?
Because to me it's like, this is a no-brainer. This is something that's just got to happen.
Can you see yourself bedridden and having your wife running around trying to do her job?
Nope.
Okay, and running back and forth taking care of you? It's impossible.
Nope.
And to put it on your kids and make that your kids' life?
No.
So a lot of people just put up blinders and they go, I really don't want to think about this. Well, you need to think about it.
Yeah.
You need to think about it whether or not you're going to a home, or whether or not you're going to try to stay at home and have somebody else care for you, because
right.
you can't put your family through it. I know, because I did. I speak out of experience. It's tough.
Well, it's happening to my dad right now.
Yeah.
He's in a way where they have a home care health specialist comes in 4 times a week, helps bathe him, get him in and out of the bathtub, stuff like that. He's faculties wise, he's all there, but physically, he is just, his knees don't work, his back don't work, his legs don't work. You know, he's diabetic. He's got where his skin tears real easily, that paper thin, because of all the medications he's on. So my brother, my youngest brother, moved in to try to help.
Sure.
And now he's wore out. His wife is wore out. And even my own dad says, you know, I didn't think about this when I could have thought about this when back in the day. So,
Well,
it's rough. It is rough.
80% of the money you're going to spend on healthcare happens in the last 20% of your life.
Right.
So it's easy for me to justify spending that kind of money on a Bemer.
Right.
Okay, which will extend your life because
Right.
you'll be feeling better, more energy, and that kind of stuff. But you really need to consider having your affairs being taken care of, and that means what's going to happen, God forbid. You know, what's your family history? What's
Right.
their health history like?
Right.
Did anybody die of cancer? Did anybody have a stroke? Anybody have heart problems? You know, you carry that with you, and we're not at a place yet where people can go into our DNA and predict and forecast what the story's going to be. So,
Right.
you know,
And of course, science is trying to find, it's amazing. We're not trying to find ways to make sure we're healthier, living longer. They just want us to live longer.
Yeah.
It's like the insurance company says, or the medication people are like, hey, we'll give you a pill, but it'll make you live longer.
well, a lot of people complain. A lot of managed health scenarios now in Medicare will continually call you up and say, hey, did you take your pill? Did you go to the doctor? Did you get your blood test? Did you do this? And a lot of older folks don't want that to happen. They want to live their life.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is some type of change has to take place
Yep.
because they're in a situation where if you want to keep living on your own, something's got to change.
Right.
But as far as caring for yourself when you get a little bit older, it's not like you don't have family, but you got to make the right kind of plans for
Right.
that to happen.
Okay, we got about 40 seconds left, and I want to put up all of Rich's information on the lower so that way people can find him. Oh, did you? So let's go. Let's show full screen. We're gonna go to your Trinity Consulting website because this is where we want people to go.
Okay.
To get your information. There's his phone number. There's his information, contact about who you are, what you do, the whole 9 yards. And then if they want the Bemer, they can always go. They can go here. Correct?
Sure, they can just call me. And,
Right.
And I'll set them up with a demonstration. But it's a wonderful device. If you can find out a way to afford it, it definitely will make you feel
Rich,
so much better.
I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you,
This
sir.
has been a great focus on business. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't learned something today, then you got your head in the sand. I'm just telling you right now. So with that being said, we'll see everybody next week on A Focus on Business.